Here's my heart, Lord. Speak what is true. I don't know about you, but about a week and a half ago, my heart was feeling a little heavy. My heart was feeling a little down. I was feeling kind of dulled in my emotions and my senses and my consciousness. I was just feeling a sense of lethargy. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever had that experience of just, not having the energy to want to go do something? Well, I noticed that I was feeling this way, and so I got up and I decided to go for a walk. Now that's one of my favorite things to do, is go for a walk or a hike, and I hadn't done it in a while. So as I was walking through my neighborhood, I noticed a house, one of our neighbors' houses. Now this neighbor doesn't live there; the house is pretty much empty, and I just stopped in my tracks because I noticed that at least during this shelter in place, there hasn't been anyone there to keep it up. And boy, the house looked really run down. The house, the weeds were encroaching on the house. The trees were looking brown. There was a big dark gray tarp over the roof. And it just looked like the house was in disrepair, like there was a sense of just atrophy, where things were just beginning to fall apart. And I stood there looking at the house, and I then realized, that's how I'm feeling inside. I was feeling deadened. I was feeling dull. I was feeling like the weeds in my mind were encroaching on my thoughts and choking my thoughts out, if you will. I stood there for a moment. I looked down, and my once, beach ready body turned into a beach ball body. You know how that expansion just seems to happen out here. Okay, so in all honesty, I don't think I've had a beach ready body since I was in college, which was what, about 15 years ago? 5. Thank you. You're very kind. But I noticed that, not only in mind, body, and spirit, I was just feeling down. And what I realized is that feeling, that sense of atrophy had come into my consciousness. Like the house, I began to kind of feel dull, feel gray in the top, feel like weeds were choking me out. I was feeling like I was wanting life as it was. It was feeling like I was waiting for life to come back to the way it was before the pandemic, before we had this shelter in place order. I felt like my goals had been put on hold, and how quickly those weeds began to grow in my mind. And that mental atrophy that was occurring, that was being created within me, that dulling of the senses, my sense of life, that decline of health, that succumbing to the wanting and the waiting, just really started to drag me down. And I was experiencing that same thing that house was experiencing. But once I realized that, I realized, okay, now I have a choice. Let me take a new look at things. How is it that I can change my consciousness? It so happens that I'm working with a friend of mine on a business coach who's helping me with some business, look at our spiritual center from a business perspective, look at how I lead, look at how things are moving forward. And one of the things that she asked me was, what would you keep from this experience? Well, now in this state of feeling atrophy, in this state of feeling this mental cloudiness, I had to think about, well, what would I keep from this experience? And it helped me look at this experience from a new light. It helped me look at it not from the state of what's wrong, but the state of what's possible. From a condition or an experience of what could I create out of this? And that's when I realized what we really need whenever we have that state of mental atrophy, when we have that state of dullness within us, when we're starting to feel a sense of tired that this is all happening, that's the time when we need to innovate. That's the time when we need to look for the opportunities in this current situation, at the possibilities in this current situation. What would you keep from this experience in your life? Innovation is our opportunity to look at how the world is and look to see how can we make things different? How can we make things better? What new idea can I come up with? What new product can I create? What new service can I involve? How can we connect differently because we aren't able to get together at the moment? at least not in the same way that we were able to get together before. And as we go forward, as things start to open up, there's still the possibility that we will not experience the same type of connection or experience that we've had in the past. So there's still a sense of change that is there. And if we allow it to really affect us, if we allow it to continue to put our goals on hold, to continue to focus on the wanting, focus on the waiting, then our life will never move forward. Instead, we need to innovate, but we need to innovate with heart. One of the great sayings that I love from Charles Fillmore, co-founder of the Unity movement, came from his book Prosperity, where he said, "Turn the great energy of our thinking upon ideas of plenty, and you will have plenty regardless of what others around about you are doing or saying." What we need to do is shift our consciousness from what we don't have and what's wrong to the idea of what's possible. The idea of ideating and creating and innovating. And we need to do it from a state of heart. So we need to turn our wanting and waiting from the past into curiosity. Curiosity in terms of what can you become? Curiosity in terms of what can you create? Turn your attention from the goals that we have to place on hold and create brand new goals. Create new ways of experiencing life. Create new things that we can accomplish in these current conditions. Turn our focus from what's not working to what would you keep? What would you keep as you move forward from this experience? You know, one of the things that I really appreciate is the idea of slowing down, is the idea of consciously taking a break. And I've had to do that more now than ever because I don't have my normal patterns, right? I don't get up, I don't do my yoga, I don't go to the center, have my meditation time, do my work time, come back. It's all here. And so my tendency has been just work and work and work and work. Take a break to feed myself, work and work and work and work. So I've really had to focus on taking time to slow down, taking time for a break. And I would definitely take that with me as I move forward. We've had to take focus time to make sure our family gets connected. All 5 of us, I should say 6 of us, because our cat Frodo is seemingly one of the most important entities in our house these days. Everyone wants to, see Frodo. Even on Zoom, when Megan and Ethan are on Zoom, and the dancers, as Megan's dancing and Frodo walks through as we call it, our dance studio, everyone wants to stop and take a look at the cat. So it's an opportunity for us to really look at what's working in our life, to focus on the good in our life and focus on ideas of plenty and innovation. Changing our attention from feelings of hopelessness to feelings of opportunity and possibility before you are, and to activate that power of faith within us. That power to shape substance, to create, to manifest that good in our life, regardless of what's happening in our life, and regardless of what other people are saying. Now, I believe the key to innovation in any situation, to make it a better situation, is innovating with the heart. Innovating from a sense of realizing our oneness. Innovating from a sense of knowing that our individual consciousness affects the consciousness of the whole, affects that collective consciousness. Innovating from the heart means sharing our energy, ideas, and actions with one another. And knowing that whatever our thoughts, ideas, and actions were, and voice and words are, that affects each other, that we affect each other, we affect the world. Individual thoughts, words, and actions have an impact on the whole. And so when we focus our heart on this innovation, when we focus on the ideas of compassion in the world and kindness, when we focus on creating something that not just brings us together, but that makes this a better place. This is a great opportunity as we're looking at the world as a whole. There's so many opportunities for us to change how we are living in this world. Not just as individuals, but how our energy system works, how our education system works, how our law and order system works, how it all works so that we can bring to it a sense of kindness and compassion and divine order. Bring to it a sense of knowing our oneness with each other. Bring to it a different sense of knowing that we're not here just to police actions of people, but we're here to help people create and grow and thrive. And so it's time to innovate with our heart. So I ask you, what would you keep from this experience of your shelter-in-place experience? Just take a moment to think about what things in your life that you would appreciate and you want to keep and bring forward. What unprosperous, unhealthy, or undesirable patterns have you discovered through this process? What have you discovered that's within you that it's time to get rid of? It's time to let it go. It's time to let it go so that you can make room for growth, make room for new opportunity and new possibility. And what new goals can you create for yourself that bring more hope, peace, prosperity, happiness, calm, vitality to you, to your family, to your world, to your experience? I took a look at that house, and when I got back from my walk, I noticed my house. I noticed there were a few dandelions starting to pop up in the front yard, and so I took the time to pull them out. I took the time to pull the weeds out of my consciousness. I took the time to get up in the morning and to do my morning yoga, my gentle, easy morning yoga stretch. And just accomplishing those two goals created a new difference for me, created a breath of fresh air within me. I was no longer feeling that sense of cloudiness and that sense of constriction. So what are your goals? Maybe you can get up and take a walk today. And if a walk isn't in your future, maybe you can get online, and there's plenty of opportunity for you to address that beach ball body that you might have, like I have. And if a beach ball body workout isn't the right one for you, there's chair yoga. What other ways can you change your situation? A good friend of mine, a colleague, Reverend Richard Carlini, who's at Unity of Davis, told me that he's got a congregation. There are some 80-year-olds who wanted nothing to do with technology until this shelter in place. And now they're experts in Zoom. They've decided, they made a choice. I'm going to shift how I do things. I'm going to embrace this technology so that I can innovate a new way to stay connected, innovate a new way to keep my brain active. We had our happy hour a few weeks ago where we all got together on Zoom, or many of us did, and we played bingo. And there's a pickup party coming up for bingo that is, I'm going to join it because I've never had so much fun playing bingo. We were on Zoom, we had our little bingo cards on our phones, and it was so much fun. So what new ways can you innovate? Can you look beyond your current situation? What new goals can you create for yourself so that you keep your mental activity active? So you wipe away that atrophy that occurs when we sit wanting and waiting for something to change. My daughter Erin has a wonderful project that she's working on. She's trying to figure out, well, how can I make a change in the world as a 25-year-old? How can I shift the way people think about race, about equality, about gender? And one of the things that she's decided to do was use her art, as she's a very talented artist, to help spread the word and help encourage people. Maybe sell the art and then donate the proceeds to somewhere. But the last thing she did was she sat with a friend of hers that she grew up with, a friend of hers who is a black man who is gay, and painted a portrait of him. And while they were painting a portrait, he told his story. And then she took that portrait and his story and she put it online on her Instagram account and on her Facebook account. What an incredible way to innovate with heart. What an incredible way to tell the story of somebody who has been living in fear. So I invite you to come to my Facebook page if you want to take a look at it, because I reposted it. I invite you to repost it on your page. I invite you to take a picture of something that is meaningful to you, that is innovative, or simply come up with an idea like Big Fun Bingo, something that's innovative, and post it to your Facebook page. You can use the hashtag Innovate with Heart, and then we can all share in it together. It's time for us to pull the weeds out of our mind. It's time for us to shake loose the cobwebs, to clear away the atrophy, and to start thinking again. To start turning the great energy of our thinking upon ideas of plenty for ourselves, for each other, and for our world. It's time for us to innovate with heart. So with that idea, I'd like to invite us into a time of meditation and prayer. As we move into a time of raising our consciousness, of meditating so that we can raise our consciousness to experience that oneness, that harmonious energy with the one spirit, the one power, the one presence. And so I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or simply soften your gaze, to take a nice deep breath and to relax. With each breath, we allow ourselves to become centered, to become present in this present moment, to allow that harmonious energy within us that we call divine love to fill us up, to express through us as gratitude and appreciation for what we have, for what we'd like to continue. We allow that feeling of love to well up within us as we open our hearts and open our mind to divine inspiration. Knowing that Spirit moves most effectively in, through, and as us when we are open and willing to receive, when we let go of our preconceived notions and just allow that divine energy to flow. And so with a nice deep cleansing breath, we relax into this present moment, open, ready to receive in the stillness, in the silence. With that love in our heart, with that open consciousness, we accept what has been given to us. We accept these ideas of inspiration. We accept this experience of love, of connection, of community that flows in and through us. We say, here's my heart, Divine Spirit. Speak what is true. As I receive that information, as I receive that inspiration, as I receive that indwelling, inspiring love and peace and harmony within me, I know that it is mine to express out into this world. And so I say yes. I say yes to each opportunity for me to express more kindness, more compassion, each opportunity for me to create and innovate a new way of connecting with myself, with Spirit, with each other. I say yes. And with that love in our heart, with that sense of appreciation and joy, we are joyfully grateful. We are richly, richly blessed. And we say thank you by singing the Alleluia.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. all